I always thought the supernatural completely bypassed my family. I believed scary stories were just figments of active imaginations, until recently. A few weeks ago, I went to visit my dad. He lives in Columbus, Ohio now, while I stayed out on the West Coast. We hadn't seen each other in a year and a half, so we stayed up late catching up. We started reminiscing about the late 90s, back when our whole family lived in Portland, Oregon. There was one question that had always bothered me. My dad had everything in Portland, a beautiful 4-bedroom house, connections, a great life. But in 1999, he suddenly dropped everything and fled to Ohio. I never dared to ask why, assuming it was personal. But this time, being a grown man, I finally asked. I was not prepared for the answer he gave me. Here is what he told me. Back in those days, he was a long-haul trucker. That winter, he took a high-paying load deep into Montana. The winter was brutal. He delivered the cargo, unloaded, and headed back. But on the way home, the interstate was shut down due to massive snowdrifts and avalanches. He had to take a detour. It was a narrow, godforsaken state route cutting straight through a dense national forest. Dad had been driving on it for about 30 miles. There wasn't a soul around. No oncoming traffic, nobody in the rearview mirror. Just towering black trees and falling snow in the headlights. Dad was squinting at the road when he noticed a shape on the shoulder. At first he thought it was just a large snow-covered tree stump, but as he got closer, he realized it was a person. Who in their right mind wanders the woods in the blizzard, he thought. He hit the brakes, but the massive 18-wheeler slid on the ice for another 50 yards before coming to a halt. He looked in the mirror. The person was just standing there, unmoving. Dad rolled down the window, letting in the freezing wind, and yelled, "Hey buddy, hop in. I'll give you a ride. You gonna freeze." The figure turned slowly and began walking toward the truck at a leisurely pace. Dad said his instinct kicked in before his eyes did. Something was fundamentally wrong. The guy was dressed completely inappropriately for the weather. A gray hoodie, jeans, and a Converse sneakers. It was sub-zero outside. When the stranger stepped up to the cab window, the interior light hit his face. Dad's breath caught in his throat. The guy's eyes were inhuman. They were massive, 3 times larger than normal eyes, pitch black with no whites. And his mouth, his upper teeth looked like jagged needles protruding unnaturally over his lower lip. Dad instantly rolled up the window, slammed the truck into gear, and floored the gas pedal. The massive diesel engine roared, and the truck lurched forward. He checked the side mirror, expecting to see the figure shrinking in the distance, but the guy was running behind him. Dad accelerated the truck to 45 miles per hour on an icy road. It was suicide, but the creature kept pace. It was running with impossible speed, its movements a blur. Then, another figure burst out from the tree line. Then another. Soon, 5 of these things were chasing the multi-ton truck, running alongside the trailer in absolute silence. My dad was terrified. He was a tough, grown man, but he said tears were streaming down his face from pure animalistic dread. He pushed the truck to its limits, praying he wouldn't slide into the ditch. He doesn't even remember how he made it out of these woods. The creatures only fell back when the flickering lights of a rundown, isolated truck stop appeared ahead. Dad flew into a parking lot, killed the engine, and ran inside. He bought a coffee, downed it, and with a shaking voice told the owner everything. The old man just chuckled. He said it was highway hypnosis, playing tricks with the shadows and exhaustion. Sleep it off in your cab, buddy. Your mind is just playing tricks on you. Dad paid for parking, locked the truck doors from the inside, and crawled into a sleeper cab in the back. He woke up a few hours later, needing to use the restroom. It was pitch black outside, and the blizzard has worsened. To see anything and make a run for the building, he climbed into a driver's seat, turned the ignition key, and flipped on the headlights. Then, he hit the windshield wipers to push away the thick layer of snow. The sweep of the wipers revealed a sight that made his heart stop. They were there. Standing in the glare of the high beams were the exact same creatures, but now there were at least 10 of them. They were lined up in a perfect semicircle right in front of the truck's grill, and all of them were staring directly at him. Their giant pitch-black eyes absorbed the light, reflecting nothing. Deadlocked eyes with the one standing in the center. From the corner of its mouth, dripping slowly down its cheek, was a thick trail of dark blood. Pure panic took over. Dad slammed his fist onto the steering wheel. The truck's massive air horn shattered the night silence. The deafening roar startled the creatures. They flinched and scattered chaotically, vanishing into the darkness of the storm. Dad didn't wait. He slammed it into gear and tore out of the gas station lot as fast as the truck would move. The most terrifying part, he said, was the rest of the drive. It was pitch dark, snow hammering the windshield, and absolutely nothing visible in the rearview mirrors. He had no idea if they were running behind him again in the blind spots. He drove non-stop without blinking until he saw the city lights of Portland. After that run, my dad changed. He developed severe paranoia. He would wake up multiple times a night, just standing by the window staring outside. He was terrified that those things had followed the truck all the way to the city and figured out where we lived. Almost a year passed. It was New Year's Eve 1999. In the early evening, Dad stepped out onto the balcony of our third-floor apartment to smoke a cigarette. He looked down at the street and his blood ran cold. Standing directly under the yellow glow of the streetlight were them. 3 of them. They weren't moving. They just tilted their heads back, staring straight up at him with those massive, void-like eyes. Dad flew back inside, double-locked the balcony door, and drew every curtain in the house. He called a buddy of his and stayed on the phone with him until the sun came up, just to hear a human voice, just to feel like he wasn't alone. The very next day, he packed his bags, bought a one-way ticket, and flew to his relatives in Ohio. He sold the Portland house remotely a month later. He gave up his entire life just to be as far away from those woods as possible. Then my dad went silent, took a sip of his drink, and looked me dead in the eyes. "It's been only 20 years," he said quietly. "But you know what? Every time I drive on an empty highway at night, or just step out onto the balcony to smoke a cigarette, my chest tightens with this primal dread. I'm terrified that one day I'll look into the darkness and they'll be standing there again, that they finally found me."